Thank you, Gareth. Lots of players in, lots of players out. How difficult was it to pick this squad?
Well, always difficult, Carve, because we've got so much competition for places, and we had quite a few players missing last time, which means you bring others in, and so then you've got more decisions to make. Also, some young players who are playing well that haven't quite made the squad. So we've kept a reasonable amount of consistency, really, with the group that were with us in the summer. They did so well. We're only 5 international games on from that. But also there are players pushing that group really strongly.
You mentioned there were some young players who are playing really well who haven't quite made it. How close was Emile Smith-Rowe, for instance, to making this squad?
Yeah, I think Emile, Conor Gallagher, Mark Gouy in particular, are all playing very well with their clubs. But we've got depth, and to put those in, we've got to leave some of these on the sheet out. And I think it's not a bad thing that we're starting to get a very strong under-21 team, because you want that depth. We fast-tracked lots of young players very quickly, and the majority of them are still in this squad now, and a lot of them played a big part in the Euros. But also we've had some that have come up, and then when you put them back with the under-21s, that's a lot more complicated. So we want to get the timing of that right. I think the boys that I've just mentioned there are on a really good path. We like them. We get a good chance to see them with the under-21s as well as with their club. And but at the moment we think a little bit early for some of those guys to come in. We could put them in and they would be absolutely fine, by the way. But we think the players we've picked are just a little bit ahead at the moment.
Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold is back in the squad. He played so well last night for Liverpool again. You've got so many right backs. What does Trent need to do to become the England right back? Because a lot of people think that he should be an automatic starter.
Well, as you say, we've got fantastic competition for places there, because Kyle was in the team of the tournament for the Euros. Kieran Trippier, who we haven't selected this time, to give a bit of an opportunity to Reece and to Trent. But Kieran has always performed brilliantly for us, has been a huge part of us getting to a World Cup semi-final and a European Championship final, and is a player that we have so much respect for, and I'm sure will be back with us in the future. But Reece and Trent are performing at a really high level. I also think Tino Livramento, when I'm talking about young players, has had an excellent start to the season. You've got Tariq Lamptey, you've got Max Aarons. We lost Cash to Poland, who's another good young right back. It's an area of the team where we've got a lot of competition for places, some very good players. So they have to defend well, first and foremost. The bedrock of our team, we've conceded 5 goals in, I think, 18 matches. So defensively, we've not been doing a lot wrong. And in my opinion, that is the first job of a defender. You've got to defend well. If then we've got good quality with the ball as well, and we can create chances, then that's an added bonus. And of course, the players that we've got in the squad in full-back positions can do both those things. So it's about delivering that on a consistent basis, and doing that in the international team as you step up.
Just looking at the squad as well, there's 3 Manchester United players missing. Jadon Sancho, Jesse Lingard and Mason Greenwood. Can you just talk us through why they're not in the squad this time round?
Well, I think Mason, I discussed the situation last time, so we've been through that. With Jesse and with Jadon, they just aren't playing a lot of football compared to the other players in their positions. I know people say I'm inconsistent, but I don't think I am. If you're playing regularly for your club, you've got a much better chance of us assessing your level compared to the rest of the group. And sometimes there'll be a lot of depth in one position, and there might not be as much depth in another position, and the player that is in the position with less depth might have a better chance of getting in with less club time. With these two lads, they've got great competition for places in the positions they play. And, Jesse has had 10, 15 minutes. I don't know what his form is, what his fitness is really, to be able to assess him against the rest of the group. So both of those boys, when I spoke with them, totally understood that. They get it. They know that at the moment they've got to get playing for their clubs and playing well, and then England is a bonus on the top. But they're both players that have done well for us, and I'm sure they'll be back with us.
I'll just ask you as well about Aaron Ramsdale. He's been in such fantastic form for Arsenal this season. How close do you think he is to becoming the England number one?
Well, firstly, it's great for him. He's now been in, this is the third squad he's been in. He had the summer with us. We were impressed with what he did in the summer. And he started very well with Arsenal. That's, at this stage of the season, still quite a small sample of games, but we're really pleased with what he's doing and the way he's playing, and his distribution with his feet is a particular bonus of the way that they play at Arsenal and the skill set that he's got. So I think there's a fight on. We've got competition for places, and we need competition for places in every position. And Aaron and Sam are definitely providing that to Jordan.
Just regarding your contract situation as well, I think the last time we spoke to you, you said you were going to sit down and talk with the FA in a couple of weeks or so. And you've also said that you don't really want to discuss your contract until England have definitely qualified for the World Cup in Qatar. But I was just wondering, when you sit down to talk with the FA, will you be talking about the nuts and bolts of the contract, or will it be a discussion about whether you want to carry on being the England manager after the Qatar World Cup because you may want to go back to club management?
Well, with the greatest respect, Garvey, what I discuss with the FA about my contract is nobody's business but me and the FA. So, as I said, the only thing that I will absolutely share is that I think we've got to nail qualification before we sit down and have those conversations in real depth, because I think the focus has got to be to get the points we need to qualify, to get the team to the World Cup finals, and then there's plenty of time to talk those things through.
And just the final one from me. A couple of weeks ago, UEFA announced that England would have to play their next UEFA game at Wembley behind closed doors. I just wanted to see what your reaction was to that ban. And obviously, do you have any sort of personal recollections of what happened that day? I know obviously you were very, very busy with what was going on in the pitch, but we've heard from some of the players who've said that their families were affected by what happened outside and inside the ground. And I just wonder if you shared any of those experiences as well.
No, I'm aware of lots of people who were at the game who've explained to me what was happening outside and inside. We understand the decision, and we're totally respectful of the decision. So it's, for us as a team, of course, a blow that we have to play with no fans in the stadium for a game, because that's the advantage of being at home. That's why home advantage is so important. But we've got to get on with that. That's the decision that's been made, and we're totally respectful of it.
Thanks, Garvey. And next we'll go to Carrie Brown of Bein Sports.
Gareth, Calvin Phillips back into this team. How much do you welcome the return of his creativity?
Well, I think it's just over a calendar year since he first played for us, and his contribution to the team and his impact on the team has been huge. So we're, of course, always keen that we've got our best players available, and he's certainly been in that category over the last 12 months.
We talked about the fans and the stadium ban. I'll talk about the fact that Jonathan Best has been sentenced to 10 weeks in prison for abusing Rashford, Sancho and Saka. It's really important that those names are remembered when so often racism is faceless. Is there a hope that this can bring change, Gareth?
Well, I think it's always encouraging if sanctions are taken against that sort of action, and the messaging becomes clear that it's unacceptable and intolerable. So I think that's the best way to answer that, really.
Greenwood are quite crucial in the last two matches for Manchester United, setting up Ronaldo and Cavani. How much are you tracking his progress, and what's his pathway to being named in this England squad now?
Yeah, we're constantly tracking every English player that plays. As I said, he and his family felt that that they needed time, and with a young player especially, I think we've got to be very mindful of that. So he's a player we believe has a big future. Is doing well with Manchester United. He's got a challenge there now, of course, with the forward line that they've played in the last few games. But I'm sure that's going to change with the number of matches that they have to play. We'll continue to watch him really closely.
Looking to your defence as well, you talked about Mark Guehi and what a prospect he is as well. Joe Gomez, who's pushing through there? Who's impressing you?
Well, Fick obviously was with us last time, and we've brought Harry Maguire back, and we've gone with the 4 centre-backs that did so well for us through the summer. But Ben White is starting to settle well now at Arsenal, Fick at Milan, Guehi. So it's Joe we know, we love. He's obviously had a little bit of an injury setback, but I'm sure he's going to get back playing, and we know he can play at the level, and he's obviously a boy we've worked with very closely and we love. So they're all pushing. I think there's still a step for a lot of them in the consistency, and a lot of those boys are young defenders. They're learning their trade, so they're not going to be perfect. But throughout the team, we're not perfect at the moment anyway. So we've got to keep improving, and there is, as we're 12 months away, all being well, we qualify. We've got 12 months where there's going to be real competition for places, and we've seen over the last 12 months how rapidly some young players can come through.
I know the impact of the ugly scenes we saw around the final at the Euros impacted you, but that was very much the minority that let down the majority of fans that saw that as a memorable day, a day of pride for England. Are you regaining that faith now? Are you understanding that?
Yeah, I haven't thought too much about it. I guess once we get past November, we'll get all the sort of end of year stuff, and you'll have a chance to really reflect a bit more. But I think we've just been thinking how we get the best reaction from the team from our last game, and how we get the points needed to qualify for Qatar. So we've really been focused on that, and the summer is a distant memory in many respects, but I'm sure in time we'll look back on it with a lot of fondness.
Thanks, Carrie. Next we'll go to Alex Howell, BBC Sport.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Alex.
Jude Bellingham's back in the squad, and I know you said last time he was left out because of his development, but has his form been too good to ignore this time?
Well, he felt he needed a break, and again, when you're dealing with a young player especially, I mean with any player frankly, if they felt that, you'd be listening, but with a young player I think that's important. He was very, very keen to be with us. He's been in good form. He had a very good game last night against Ajax. I've already watched that one. So he's an exciting talent, we know that. Still learning positionally parts of his game, but we're very pleased to be including him again.
Ben Chilwell is also in the squad and been in really good form for Chelsea. Are you seeing the benefit now, do you think, of him having a break after the summer and maybe a break from England?
Well, I'm really pleased for him. It was a really difficult summer for him, and when he went back to the club, he wasn't straight in the team. So I think I said when we called him back in last time, we had wanted his next experience with England to be one where he played, and also he was up to speed and had some football with his club, which he got just before he came in late to the squad last time. He did very well in the game that we played, and he's continued that goal scoring form with his club as well. So yeah, it's nice to see him flourishing and playing with a lot of confidence, enjoying his football.
A few of these players, some people would say, aren't in their best form at the moment. Would you say that's because of mental tiredness from the summer? Are we seeing the effects of that long campaign?
I think the first part of your statement is fair, and the second part would be lots of different individual circumstance, really. So I think it's too easy to bracket tiredness, because they all did that, and some players are playing extremely well. There's individual club situations, there's been injuries. So yeah, I think it would be wrong to just make a sweeping judgment on all of that, really.
And finally, a lot of these players, like you said, did so well for you in the summer. Picking them, was that in mind with the Albania game next, as that is such a big game to secure qualification?
Yeah, I think we have trust in this group, and we know the level they can get to. We know the experience they have, and we've picked the players we feel at this moment in time are best placed to help us do that job. In the end, we have to get the right results, and yeah, we have faith in these players to get us over the line to qualification.
Thanks, Alex. Next, go to Nizar Kinsella from goal.
Hi Gareth, hope you're well. I just wanted to ask you about Callum Hudson-Odoi, and you made him the youngest international to play a competitive game ever in 2019, beating Duncan Edwards. What have you made of his recent games for the Chelsea team, and are there fears that he could be another one that you lose? One more appearance would cap-tie him, of course, to England. So just wanted that kind of situation talked about, really.
Yeah, I had a good chat with Callum before last month's get-together, because it is difficult if you're a young player, you've been with the senior team. He went back and played with the under-21s in the last cycle. And then to go again a second cycle, I could understand is a difficult challenge. So we would still like him to do that, but he wants to back himself with his Chelsea form to get back into the seniors, and I totally respect that. So by not being in the under-21s, he misses a bit of an opportunity to impress us and to be able to come across if we need players for training and those sorts of things. He's had a couple of good matches for Chelsea. I know Thomas is guarded about how much he goes with the praise on that, but it's good to see him back playing and playing, more regularly at first team level. And he knows the challenge that's ahead, but he knows also that we're constantly watching him, and he's young enough to be, and talented enough to mount a serious challenge as we move forward.
Thanks, Nazar. We have a couple to finish with, starting with Scott Wilson and the Northern Echo.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Scott.
Gareth, I know that obviously getting the points to secure World Cup qualifications the number one priority, but given everything that's happened this year, how nice would it be to kind of sign off for the year at Wembley with a strong performance and something to get the kind of fans going?
Well, definitely, we always want to do that anyway. I think when you're at home, even more so. And yeah, we've set a very high level all season, or all calendar year, 17 matches. I think by the end of the year, I don't know the stats, but I would imagine we'll have played more internationals than any England team in the past. So yeah, we want to finish strongly. We want to qualify from the group first and foremost, as you said, but that comes as a consequence of performances, and we want to hit the level of performances that we've hit pretty consistently throughout this year.
Thanks, Scott. And we'll finish with James Ollie of ESPN.
Hi, Gareth. Just to clarify on Mason Greenwood, has he sort of effectively turned down a call up? Would you have liked to have had him with you this month?
We haven't discussed it this month. We met with him in September and had a very good discussion and totally understand where he is. And I said last month, with young players, think their pathways are different. The load on them is different. He's at a massive football club with a lot of expectation, and we don't want to move too quickly. He feels he's got a huge competition to establish himself at his club, and he recognises that is a big part of making your way in international football anyway. So I think, as I said last month, with young players, we want to get that right, and it's important. These discussions happen all the time with players of this age. We've got younger age groups that those lads would be playing in, and nobody would be aware that those things are going on. But it's a very familiar path for us in terms of youth development.